Well, first thing, embodying. That's why the word embodying is such a big deal, because the reason why I'm smiling, because it included myself at one point in time. We wanted to get it right, and we want to get it right yesterday, and we want it gone, this discomfort, mental or physical. Um, we want it gone, finito. And we spend a lot of time, even with support, and not having the right kind of support, but we spend a lot of time suppressing emotions. And emotion is so huge. And but suppressing it, that's just adding more stress to our system, not knowing it. This is unintentional. Uh, we stress ourselves out quite a bit unintentionally. I'll say this, from the time we get out of the bed to the time we get back into bed, um, let's use the word bed, uh, we're doing two things with regards to relationship to the body. We're either adding mileage to our body, the life mileage, or decreasing it during that time period. Okay? And nobody's responsible except us. Nobody else is responsible. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be locked up in prison or walking down the street. Happy family, Learjet, or a homeless person, it doesn't matter. We are responsible for that. Okay? Now, with that said, embodying emotions, learning to embody it is I like to use the word a forest. The forest is the body, okay? And a tree falls down. We have a little bit of stress, or it can be traumatic that happens. A situation, even from a divorce, a breakup, a loved one, or even something more traumatic or stressful, or loss of child in birth, on and on. We want to get rid of it. Well, when that tree falls down in the forest, naturally, there's nobody going to come in there and take that tree out the forest. That tree begins to decay, but it takes time. That's the important piece. We call it learning to have patience with some understanding or wisdom. So when that tree decay, if which nature allows it to, other things begin to come and live in that tree and so forth. And this is the same if we embody emotions and allow it to be, allowing it, and that comes from practice, then it's not as stressful. We begin to understand and see the cycle or a pattern of how we unintentionally create our stress of a particular event that happened so many moons back. And once we gain that understanding, a sense of relief begins to happen. And that relief as is another word for relaxation or softening within the muscular system, the nervous system, and simultaneously creating space. You're not holding on to tension and so forth. And I'll bring this other word in for the other body. It used to be called the spirit or the soul. It still is called that. But they have also added another word from another culture that's from the ancient masters, and that's the subtle body. And so there's a subtle body and the physical body begin to slowly merge together. And a lot of different kinds of things happens when this begins to go on. People don't, well, have a different view. Well, what's the subtle body crap? You know, what are you talking about? And then maybe a few hours later, oh, well, I have to go and see my acupuncture and get some needles put in. He or she is such a lovely person. But what's this subtle body crap? And here, systems like the acupuncture, doctor of Oriental medicine, Tibetan medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, these are ancient systems, medical system that our society accept. And it's working with merging the physical and the subtle body together, bringing it together as one. And as this begins to come together, various kinds of cleansing that I've already talked about begins to happen. And so I put together a process from a teacher that I studied with, Roger Selvin, Integral Somatic Psychology, that he put together, and that is now globally training people. Well, my first question to him was, has this ever been done in a group process? In one of the trainings that I was assisting in. And he said no. So I came back home and took a year of research of where now there's this group, 7 people, 7 weeks, 2 hours a week. And the only thing you know about the other person is their name. And you only know their name because their name is on the screen. If you don't want nobody to know your name, you can make up a name and put that on the screen. In other words, there's no chit chat in the group because it's not about your story. And there's a 1-page form you fill out. It's like a pre-test because there's a post-test of how the course was for you. And it's the most important thing on that 1 page is these 3 lines, and it asks what traumatic or stressful situation that you would like to work upon. And you only have a line, so it's not much words you want to put down. If you're called on, because in every class, you are invited to volunteer. And there's 10 to 12 minutes where you have volunteered for, and I just ask which number you would like to work on. And you say number 2, for example. I said, I look at number 2 usually for the first time. I have no reason to look at it before then. And we get connected. And then after you share with me, you sit with that story, that situation, and you share with me what's going on in your body with reference to that situation. And there's always some various kinds of tension. I usually don't let emotions arise in the person because there's enough suffering going on. And then I turn to the other 6 people, which is this person's team, and give them some breathing instructions and hands instruction. We're working with the subtle body here. We're working with the energetics and supporting this one person, because our attention, wherever you go, there you are. And when we are in a community, we do become one. Saying it and believing it is 2 different worlds, and that's all been confirmed. Even the heartbeat eventually begins to beat together. And so energetically, we do become a system. This is why a mom is so in tune with her infant and her kids, wherever they at in the home. She knows what's going on, or dad, if he chooses to be in tune, he knows what's happening. It's the same thing called resonance. And we began to do some work for that amount of time, 10, 12 minutes. And the most common feedback that everyone gives that person is how young they look. Because the human being lets go inside, and this stress is the only thing that makes us age, is stress. And once we learn how to manage stress, of course, we age less, and whatever is going on, the situation that's happening, um, is not as stressful, and your attitude towards it change. The body is in a different space, and you are embodying it. In other words, you can't explain how of the 100%, you probably can make up about 5 or 10% of your experience. Try your best to experience, like I'm trying my best to experience, and share it with you, with the experiences that I've had in working with people. Because we are working with the linear and mostly the non-linear world, because that's where the subtle body dwells, is in the non-linear world. The linear world is the physical body, of course, and we have a brain that's been structured with regards to working linearly, where the subtle body works however it chooses to work. And um, blending the two together, we do know the two goes together, and we do know from the medical systems that I've mentioned that the subtle body is one of the foundations of priorities of it, is to help to support the physical body. So the two goes together. So amazing thing happened in this 7-week course process. And once the cognitive aspect in the course is about maybe 25%. Of course, there's handouts in every class, and people really enjoy the readings, because a lot of the readings is confirming what they have experienced, and is coming from science and technology. And as we are working, getting into the more and towards the end, more towards the subtle body and the understanding of that and the workings of that. To know these things generally is one thing, but getting to know them more in detail as you experience it is like learning to become a better swimmer, instead of just going in the swimming pool and splashing around, but doing 20, 30 laps, and it's no big deal. Instead of doing maybe a half a lap and you're ready to get out. And so that's the difference in working with, or that's the difference with regards to learning how to embody emotions with greater efficiency.